All right, here we have the true blue eucalyptus. There are lots of different forms and shapes and sizes of the eucalyptus plant, used for many different reasons. But this plant in particular is mostly used for its decoration. The eucalyptus that grows in Australia is something that the koala bears eat almost exclusively. So that's kind of a fun little fact about the eucalyptus. It's also used medicinally, and it's great, very aromatic. It's grown for its leaves and medicinal purposes and all that good stuff, but I just think it's really pretty. So let's get into the care instructions for these awesome plants. First of all, we have to start out with light. They need really bright light. They can grow in full sun as long as it's not above about 95 degrees, otherwise it might burn a little bit. So if it's going to be outside, make sure that it is not getting too much of that afternoon really harsh sun from about 1 to 5-ish. But other than that, it can grow in full sun. It is not super cold hardy, so make sure you bring it in during the spring and the summer months. Oh, there's someone driving by that was taking a video. So make sure you bring it in during the winter months. Sorry, got sidetracked. It's cold hardy to about 40 degrees, so if you want to bring it in before then, that's great. And then if you're going to keep it inside, make sure that you give it your brightest window possible, okay? So right up in a really good bright window. They will grow very quickly indoors and outdoors, so be ready to prune to keep it a manageable size for your space. Next, let's talk about watering. So during the spring and summer months, it's actively growing, and that's when it's going to really grow quickly. You want to let the pot dry out about 1/3 of the way in between waterings, right? So this would be about 50%. You want to let it dry out somewhere in this range in between really thorough soakings. It can take a lot of water at one time, but just make sure it's infrequent. Make sure you're sticking your finger in there and checking the level of dryness before you are watering. During the winter months, when the plant is more dormant, you can let it dry out even further, maybe 50% or even just a little bit more than that in between thorough soakings. During the spring and summer months, again, you can apply a fertilizer for this character. I just use a granule fertilizer, something that's well balanced, something that's not super strong, just a well balanced granule fertilizer, slow release kind of a thing. And that's going to do really well for these characters because they will need it during their growing months, during the spring and the summer months. Next, let's talk about repotting. So if you're going to repot, of course, just go up one pot size, okay? So this is a 10-inch pot going up to 11 or maybe a 12 at most. And the type of soil you're going to want to use is, I use 50% cactus soil to 50% houseplant soil. So it wants to drain pretty sharply, but it can retain a little bit of moisture, and that's why we use something, the houseplant soil, it's a little more moisture retentive. And we mix it in with the cactus soil, which is very sharp draining, so it's a good balance for them. But that's going to do it for the care instructions for the eucalyptus plant. If you have any questions about that, let me know in the comment section below. Of course, you can always message me right here on